one of the main things I want to ask you about is the man himself, Uldren, Prince Uldren. Probably one of the most important developments in his storyline we got with the new sidearm, which was Zavala pretty much implying, basically confirming the Vanguard dare is real, which basically confirms that Uldren should be the next Hunter Vanguard, which has been I mean, I think you've been saying it for a while. I've been saying it since day. Like, Uldren he has to, because he killed Cade. The way the Vanguard dare it works.
Yep.
The way Cade even became the Vanguard in the first place is that once you kill the Vanguard, you have to become the new Vanguard. So Uldren, by definition, just had to.
That's actually, there's a little error there.
Okay.
So it's not specifically who kills it. Like, each Vanguard has a specific dare, right? Like, Cade never killed his predecessor Andal.
Yeah.
Like,
Tanix.
you could totally make... Yeah, Tanix did. But, like, you know, the entire thing is basically the dare is self-defined by each hunter. And so you basically have the ability for them to step into the shoes of the position of Vanguard. But it's bigger. Like, a Vanguard dare is one thing, but a hunter dare is like a general point of their culture.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like if you and I are hunters and we're both drunk in a bar, and then one of us says, hey, you know that Fallen dude everybody keeps on talking about? Yeah. Okay. 10,000 glimmer to the first person who kills it from the other guy. Hunter dare? And the moment you metaphorically shake on it, it's done. It's like a blood pact. You can't, on your own honor, like, jump out of it. You can't back out when it's done. No escaping. So, you know, it's done on Hunter's honor, which is why the Hunter's dare is allowed to persist, because otherwise they wouldn't fill their vanguards. And in this instance, Cade made his dare into exactly as it said. You know, the person who kills him has to take all of his titles and possessions. So that's, you know, not just Ace of Spades, but also things such as, you know, the position of Hunter Vanguard.
Yeah, and, so with Andal, it was more of like, obviously Cade and Andal were very good friends. It was more of like an honor, picking up the mantle after him. But with, obviously, Cade, wasn't quite as amicable with Uldren. So Uldren, I mean, if you think about it thematically, it's a redemption arc. You can see Bungie is plain as day. They're plotting out a redemption arc. This is going to be Uldren's route for forgiveness. This is how he earns his way back into, you know, the Guardians. I mean, it's how he earns the respect of other Guardians, because he obviously killed Cade, but it wasn't really him. It was him in a past life, and it was being controlled by Riven and Savathun, so it wasn't really even Uldren's fault. It was kind of being brainwashed, but it is still the guy that looks like Uldren is still the guy that killed Cade. So as punishment, he is going to have to become Vanguard. And it's what we kind of thought would happen for a long time, but for the first time this week, there was, what does it say? So it was Zavala talking to Anna Bray. I remember even last time we were playing the Prophecy Dungeon, I was saying how there was an audio cue where, who was it? I think it was the Drifter calling Anna Bray lazy for not picking up the Hunter Vanguard role, which is kind of implying that they're looking for someone obviously to fill it, but it's been a long time.
Oh yeah.
But now with this time, we've always speculated the Vanguard dare should mean Uldren is going to get it, but now Zavala's like, we're not picking you, Anna. We're picking the man who killed Cade. So that's obviously how it's shaping up.
So here's the thing. I think what a lot of people, I think people are building this to be more than it actually is. And yes, it totally is one of these things of like, they know that Cade's Hunter dare was whoever kills him becomes Hunter Vanguard. But they've also like postulated on this in a whole bunch of different ways. And the effects that you talked about, like the Drifter saying to Anna, like, you lazy Vanguard. Like, there's been so much of that throughout the entire world of Destiny, and those repercussions have bled through everything. So like, when it comes to the whole Drifter calling Anna lazy thing, when it comes to how it's affected hunters, you have these different lore entries talking about how hunters are basically abandoning their old dens in the city and are going out on long missions away from it so that they can avoid the responsibility of potentially being picked up from Vanguard missions and then being forced into the position of mentor, because hunters don't want to do this.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Like, yeah, it's had huge repercussions across the entire world, not just because the Vanguard split, but now because the hunters are more split from the rest of the Guardians. And when it comes down to the actual thing of Zavala talking about, you know, the Vanguard dare and the fact that they weren't going to get Anna to fill it, I don't think that Zavala knows Uldren is alive again. I think that nobody knows Uldren is alive except for a few Guardians who have encountered him in the tower, according to the one lore tab.
Interesting.
That we got about him last Christmas.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be one of those big reveal moments for our characters in universe. And I think that's what's going to be really key about it. You know, this is another one of those points at which Bungie has just very lightly tapped the plot that they're talking on there. And it's one of these moments where they're saying like, yep, we're signposting this. We still know where we're going with it. Stay tuned. And everybody picking up on the Uldren thing from that conversation between Anna and Zavala that we got through some of the new lore tabs. Yeah, like that's totally the right place to be. I don't think Zavala knows that Uldren is a Guardian now.
That's a very interesting point.
Change it for everything.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah.
Because Uldren is currently somewhere in the Cosmodrome, hiding out, but he always wears his helmet so no one can see him. And apparently when he does get seen, people aren't very nice to him. But he doesn't know why. It really is like this. I do love that. And there's a reason why everyone is glued to the story. It's by far one of the most interesting. You've got a guy just who's become a completely different character and is one of the most hated characters, and he's supposed to fill this role. Something you said earlier is definitely spot on, is that something a lot of people don't realize is the Hunter Vanguard role isn't a job that any hunter wants. It's not a good... People see it as like, this onerous... Like, I get to be the Hunter Vanguard. No one actually wants, especially hunters, they don't want to be tied. It's a boring job. No one wants this job. And it's actually punishment for Uldren. It's not, people see it as like an honor or like a reward of Uldren gets to be the Vanguard and be in charge. But really, it's a job. It's a really boring job that no hunter wants. And again, what else would Uldren be doing? He's not going to be a Guardian. So it's absolutely perfectly fitting that he would have to redeem himself by doing this job that no one wants and earn his title as a real hunter. So... all the cards are right in front of us.
Yeah. I gotta say this, dude. You hit the idea that it's a redemption arc playing on the head, and I think that's exactly what it's gonna be. But I think that the role of being a Hunter Vanguard is actually a reward for Uldren at the end of the redemption arc. Because you're totally right about the way that hunters treat it, right? Like, it's a position where you need to sit in the tower all day and you basically have all this responsibility. Yeah. Hunters value independence and the ability to explore the system, right? That's what they've always wanted.
To run free.
But Uldren right now, in his year or so of being a Guardian, has only experienced one thing, and that is exclusion. You know, he has always been excluded from Guardian populations. He's always been a bit of an outcast and a loner, and that's probably going to lead to a lot of things where he has a lot of, you know, these feelings of an imposter syndrome or just a feeling that he's generally not accepted. And I think that the Vanguard position as a result is going to be a reward for him because he's going to be able to welcome in new Guardians as their mentor. And bigger than just that, he's also going to belong within a structure that he technically belongs in as a Guardian, right? He has a purpose and he belongs. And that sense of belonging, I think, is really important as the reward for his redemption arc, you know? He has to prove to us that, yes, he is worthy of the title Guardian. And there's got to be some form of atonement for the death of Cayde. And there's got to be a moment in which he lays it all out for us and says, it wasn't who I am now, but regardless, I am so sorry that I did this. You know, like, there's got to be that moment where he reconnects with Guardians and shows that he's a different person. And I think that when that happens, it's going to be a really satisfying story moment for everybody. I really can't wait to see what they do with that.
I mean, I guess people think differently about it, but I've never really had any sort of... I've never thought that Uldren needs to really be forgiven or like he's really done anything wrong. Because, again, it seems like he has, but realistically, he's a different person. Like, Uldren as Marasov's brother and Uldren as this resurrected Guardian, they're literally... When you get resurrected, you're basically a new person, clean wipe. But even if Uldren was the same person... He was brainwashed by Riven and Savathun. Like, it wasn't really, and he was trying to do it for a good cause for his sister, trying to save his sister. But you don't like. I don't know. It's that I don't really think he's not really in my bad books. But I understand why a lot of Guardians hate him. But me personally, I think it's I don't think it's a big deal. It wasn't. It wasn't his fault. It was
I'm totally with you on that. Yeah, like, he's not a bad character at the end of the day. And even with all the manipulation there, I can still technically forgive him. It's one of these moments, though, where I can also understand why it cuts differently for other players. You know, like, you have a visceral... In fact, you know, this has been explored before with two different things. I'm going to talk philosophy for a second.
Go for it.
I believe it's Theseus's... maybe not Theseus. Maybe Theseus or Odysseus's ship. It's this concept from ancient Greece where it's basically this ship that the hero is borne out on into the sea. And as time goes on, you know, different parts of it get destroyed and have to be replaced. And by the end of it, not a single timber of the ship is the same as what left when it returns to the original harbor.
Right.
And the philosophical question becomes, is the ship the same ship as the one that originally set out? Right? Because everything has been replaced. Uldren has very much had metaphorical timbers replaced, you know? And it's one of these big questions of saying, hey, how much of this qualifies as the old person? And for some people, they're going to disagree and say he looks like the metaphorical duck, he quacks like it, even if he's, you know, trying to be, you know, somebody who atones for his past mistakes, and even if he is a different person and doesn't have the same memories, I don't care. Some people can make that argument, and it's a philosophical break, you know, like, I feel like I can kind of understand and respect it, even if I personally disagree.
Yeah.
You know?